you doing, guys? Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be looking at the Samyang 45mm 1.8 f. This is a really interesting lens because it kind of breaks the mold in terms of normal focal ranges. Most manufacturers will do your typical sort of wide 16s, 24s, 35s, 50s, 85s. Obviously those latter ones are not wide, but it will start off there and will go up in that kind of trend. Now a 45mm is interesting because what that kind of does for you as a lens is it basically gives you the ability to catch a bit more width around your subject if you are using it as a portrait lens, but then it also has that narrowing effect that a 50 and beyond offers. So that most portrait photographers will tend to use 50s, 85s onwards, and the reason being is that range and that distance and where the focal length has the impact of slendering or making the subject a little bit thinner. When you're using super wides and stuff, obviously they make the subject wider and there's a slight curvature to that. So the idea of having a 45, I think the design is kind of to give you the best of both worlds. I personally love 35mm. You can see there that I use the 35 1.4 and I also have the 85 1.4 as well, and I love them. I think they're great lenses and they are the typical go-to lens that I use. So the 45 is going to be an interesting addition to the kit that I use. Now in terms of look, it has the typical design that you're seeing from the new range of Samyang lenses, which is great. It's really stand out. The only moving components on the actual lens itself is the focus ring, and then obviously you have your lens cap and a lens hood as well. So once that's popped on, this gives you an idea of what it will look like. The body is plastic now as opposed to metal, so with the larger lenses they have metal bodies and that adds a bit of weight to them. Now, you know, the compromise of taking away that metal means it is a lighter lens, which is great. So if you are moving around and sort of like a shoot from the hip portrait photographer out on location, then that's going to facilitate it by being a lighter lens. I can tell the difference straight away with that being on there, which is great. The autofocus function is amazing. I've been testing it already and it works with eye autofocus as well. I couldn't get a model in, so I used the poster of my partner that I shot for Nangwang, and you can see the eye autofocus there in the studio, giving you an idea of how it works, and it's just as good and it's just as fast as the rest of them in the range. So really interesting that shift from having, you know, a sort of a metal body and sturdier finish hasn't compromised the mechanics of the inside, which is great. I've also done some test shots. Now originally I started off shooting them on my Mac screen, and then I realised the Mac screen, with the way the pixel works, you can see the pixelation, so I wasn't really impressed with that. So then I used my colour checker, and I've tested it at 1.4, 2, 2.8, 4, 8 and 11. What I've done is also stuck the RAWs down below, so there's a link to download the RAWs, so you can download those and you can, you know, if you're a pixel peeper, you can download those and have a little look. Now there is a little bit of damage to my sensor, which you will pick up when you sort of look at those images and inspect them further. So my initial thoughts are I'm pretty impressed with the weight of the body, the fact it comes with this new little travel case which makes it easier to sort of shoot from the hip and travel with the lens, and yeah, it feels great on my A7R2. So really interested to see what your thoughts are on having a 45mm released. To know what you guys think. So pop some comments down below. Obviously the video is going to be a lot shorter than the last one. I've cut through all the BS, so hopefully you enjoyed that. And if you haven't subscribed to the channel, now would be a great time to do it. Until next time, I'll catch you soon.